Sometimes your home feels like a truck carrying far more than it needs to. It still moves, but slowly, heavily, and you feel the weight too. Look closely and you'll realize much of that weight belongs to an older version of you. Old hobbies, old goals, old habits, things that once fit but no longer reflect who you are today. Clutter isn't about not cleaning enough. It's about holding on to what has already expired in your life. The more you try to organize it, the more it overflows, because the problem isn't how you clean, but what you're still keeping. The moment I realized I was living in a museum of my past, everything shifted. Letting go of what no longer mattered made my space lighter, my routine easier, and my mind clearer. So, in this video, I'm sharing 12 things you can release right now to make your home more breathable and your life less heavy. They're small changes, but their impact is surprisingly big. And the first one doesn't sit in your drawers or your closet, it's in your phone. Let's start here. I want to talk about social media because it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, it helps you stay connected. On the other, it quietly drains your energy and your confidence. I used to think clutter only lived in the physical stuff around my house until I realized my phone had basically become a bag full of noise I never meant to carry. There was a phase where the moment I opened my eyes in the morning, I was hit with dozens of notifications from group chats. I didn't even want to be in messages about things that had nothing to do with my actual life, and an endless stream of suggested videos I'd scroll through on autopilot. The day had barely started and my mind already felt as heavy as if I'd run 5 kilometers. The truth is, digital clutter is even sneakier than physical clutter. You can see an old shirt, but the content that makes you compare yourself, the negative conversations, or the accounts that always leave you feeling less than those live rent-free in your mind every single day without you realizing it. They don't just eat up your time, they slowly drain your mental energy. One day, I finally decided to clean things up. I left toxic group chats, turned off notifications for apps that weren't important, unfollowed accounts that made me feel exhausted, and deleted every app I wasn't actually using. It took maybe 15 minutes, but my mind felt instantly brighter. My phone finally went back to its proper role supporting my life instead of controlling my emotions. And once my digital space felt lighter, I started noticing other heavy things in my life more clearly. That's when I bumped into another hard truth. Sometimes the thing that makes your home feel chaotic isn't the physical stuff, it's the promises you've forgotten about or no longer want to keep, but are still carrying in the background of your mind. If you want to see more ways to keep a home tidy and stress-free, I've got a video coming up on smart decluttering tips for seniors, making it easier to keep every corner of the house clean and organized, so don't miss it. Next, let's look at a very mental kind of clutter. Half-done projects are like browser tabs you've left open way too long. You're not using them anymore, but they're still taking up space and slowing everything down. I used to have a box in my closet full of supplies for making homemade candles. It was one of those someday projects I once thought I'd be amazing at. Every time I opened the closet and saw that box, I'd feel a tiny but very real sting in my chest, like a broken promise to myself. I didn't hate it, but it reminded me that I should have done more. The funny thing is, I wasn't even interested in candle making anymore. Life had changed. My work changed. My passions shifted. My pace of living was different. But I kept holding onto that box as if keeping it meant I was still holding on to some ideal version of myself from the past. One night, I sat down and asked myself, do I actually want to finish this project? Or am I just afraid of what it means to quit? The answer came with this quiet relief. I hadn't wanted it for a long time, I just hadn't admitted it. I ended up giving the entire candle making kit to a friend who was excited to learn. Carrying that box out of my house felt like I was taking more than just an item to the door. It felt like I was clearing out an old expectation of who I should be. No more heaviness every time I opened that closet, no more low-grade guilt, no extra unfinished task quietly running in the background of my mind. Letting it go didn't feel like failing. It felt like growing up. And once my mind felt lighter, I started noticing other things I was only holding on to out of pressure or habit, including a very emotional category, all the goal clothes I was saving for the day. I might finally fit into them again. Now let's move from your projects to your closet. Some people start looking more beautiful the moment they decide they're done waiting for the perfect green light to cross the road. Confidence works the same way it doesn't need a "you're finally good enough now" signal to switch on. I realized that one morning that felt completely ordinary, I opened my closet and saw a row of dresses still with their tags on silent, but heavy with pressure. I had bought them in those hopeful, excited moments, the days when I believed, if I just lose a few more pounds, I'll look amazing in this. The funny part, I had never worn any of them. Every morning I'd skim past them, like I was walking past a reminder. You're still not where you're supposed to be. That didn't motivate me. It just turned getting dressed into an emotional exam. Then one day I stood in front of my closet longer than usual. Not because I didn't know what to wear, but because it hit me. Those clothes didn't belong to my life right now. They belonged to a version of me I thought I had to become in order to feel worthy, pretty, acceptable. Folding those dresses up to give them away, I didn't feel regret. I felt like I was cleaning up the way I treated my body. I wasn't throwing away my desire to be healthy. I was just refusing to punish myself with clothes that existed only for a someday version of me. It turned out what I needed wasn't more beautiful clothes, it was fewer invisible expectations hanging in my closet. After decluttering, my wardrobe looked surprisingly calm. I kept what truly fits me now, not me later. And slowly getting dressed in the morning became a small joy, instead of a quiet conversation about what I still wasn't. That's when I finally understood keeping things isn't just about the object itself. It's about the feelings we attach to it. And not every feeling is worth carrying around. Which leads us into one of the trickiest categories to declutter the things that are tied to your old identity. Now let's look a little deeper at the items that belong to old versions of you. Just like your computer has old files clogging up space because you forgot to delete them, your life does too. Except these files live in your drawers and cabinets. I noticed this one day when I was searching for an important document and accidentally pulled out an entire data archive I'd forgotten I even had. Old employee badges from jobs I'd left years ago, stacks of work documents that had nothing to do with what I do now, college textbooks I never opened again, little mementos from seasons of life I'd already moved past. The problem wasn't that any of those items were ugly or meaningless, they were just expired. But because they weren't actively bothering me, I never touched them, kind of like old files on your laptop. You keep thinking, I'll clean that up later, and then never do. One quiet afternoon, I decided to pull everything out of that drawer and really face it. I picked up each item and asked myself one simple question. Does this still serve me now? Most of the answers were no. Throwing away that old company badge felt exactly like deleting a file I hadn't opened in years. Getting rid of those outdated documents felt like finally emptying a folder that had no purpose except to make me feel safer somehow. I wasn't erasing my past, I just realized I didn't need physical proof of it to remember who I've been. The room didn't look dramatically different afterward, but my mind did. I felt like I'd reclaimed a bit of breathing space enough to see who I am today, instead of always staring at who I used to be. And once I saw that, I started noticing something else. It wasn't just drawers. My whole home had things I'd just left there, not used, not needed, almost invisible. Pieces of furniture taking up space without really serving any purpose at all. Now it's time to zoom out to room level, where even the furniture can turn into a kind of clutter your brain stops seeing. Did you know there are things in your home you look at every single day, but your brain doesn't register them anymore? I used to have an armchair by the window. Sounds cozy, right? In reality, it was just a landing spot for random stuff. I saw it every day, but at the same time, I didn't. It wasn't useful. It didn't hold any real sentimental value. It was just part of the background. One day, while vacuuming, I suddenly realized I hadn't actually sat in that chair in over a year. Even when guests came over, nobody ever used it. I paused for a moment and asked myself, if I got rid of this chair, would I miss it? The answer was a clear, simple no. That same afternoon, I sold the chair, and you honestly wouldn't believe how it felt. The room instantly gained what felt like an extra few feet. The space opened up, more light came in, and everything looked more intentional. That's when I finally saw how dangerous invisible furniture can be. These pieces quietly make your home feel smaller, messier, and heavier than it needs to be. They take up precious square footage you could be using for things that actually bring you joy, like a reading corner, a yoga mat, or simply nothing at all, just room to breathe. As I started removing furniture that no longer served a real purpose, I realized something else. Clutter at home isn't just the things we obviously see. It's also the things we've seen so often that our brains stop noticing them even though they're still taking from us. Clearing out those invisible pieces gave me a chance to redesign my space in a way that made me want to live in it, not just pass through it and make do. Next, let's zoom in on something tiny, but very common: empty boxes. Some items aren't useful enough to actually use, but just good enough to make you feel guilty about throwing them out. Empty boxes are exactly that. They don't really contribute anything to your life right now, but they also don't feel bad enough to toss. So they stay silently eating up space, quietly adding to the weight you feel. I had this small, sturdy gift box that came with something I bought. It looked cute, solid, and clean enough that I thought I'll reuse this later. I put it in a drawer, thinking one day it'd be perfect for paper clips, extra cords, or some little bits and pieces. But that one day never came. It just sat there untouched for months, then years, and then of course more boxes showed up. Plastic boxes, cardboard boxes, big, small, pretty, plain. They multiplied in this weird way. Every time I picked one up and hesitated, I'd think I should keep it, I might need it. But the truth was, I didn't use them. I didn't want to throw them out, and I definitely didn't have space to keep them all. One day, while decluttering, I opened that drawer and actually laughed. My living space was being hijacked by things that did absolutely nothing for my life. When I finally decided to get rid of them, the first feeling was honestly weird. It felt like I was challenging a mindset I'd grown up with. If it's still good, don't waste it. But after I let go of the first box, the rest became easier. I realized that little pang of what a waste was just a knee-jerk reaction, not a logical reason to keep them. The real change wasn't just in the drawer, it was how I felt when I opened it. No more half decisions, no more vague plans, no more maybe one day, just clarity. And once the empty boxes were gone, I started noticing other empty things around the house. Items that hadn't served my life in a long time, but were still there. Simply because I'd never stopped to ask, why am I still keeping this? Now let's move from the things taking up space in your drawers to the things quietly draining your bank account. It's wild, but sometimes you're not the one deciding how to spend your money, your apps are. In modern life, we sign up for all kinds of services, apps, gym memberships, streaming platforms, online courses, At first, they're useful. But over time, as you get busier and stop paying attention, they shift from tools into invisible burdens. Every month, money leaves your account automatically and you barely remember agreeing to it. It's only when you sit down with your bill that you realize you've been paying for things you never use. It's a familiar feeling. Those small recurring charges are easy to ignore. A few dollars here and there doesn't seem like much until you add them up and realize how much you've been throwing away. The worst part isn't just the money. It's that you're trading your time and energy for things that aren't even part of the life you care about anymore. Money that could have gone toward investing in yourself, meaningful fun, or long-term savings. One day, I went through every recurring payment linked to my phone and bank. I canceled streaming services, I never opened online classes I'd abandoned, and a gym membership I hadn't used in ages. The result, I saved a surprising amount of money each month, but more importantly, I felt like I'd taken back control of my finances. Clearing out those subscriptions wasn't just about saving cash, it felt like a mental declutter too. I knew exactly where my money was going, and the quiet background guilt of I'm paying for this but not using it finally disappeared. And once you start noticing those pointless subscriptions, it becomes easier to see all the other things that are costing you in space time or money without giving much back. Unread books, unused skincare, random objects piling up around the house. Decluttering forgotten subscriptions is often the first step in bringing everything your home and your budget back into alignment. It's time to look at another kind of weight, the books you bought, but never actually read. Is your bookshelf basically a display of someday I'll get to it titles? A lot of us buy books with the hope they'll change our lives, or because we feel a pang of guilt when we see something inspiring and think I should read this. But over time, those books just sit there staring at you from the shelf, waiting for a day that never comes. They don't just take up physical space. They quietly whisper, "You haven't done enough yet." Instead of letting those unread books become a monument to procrastination, try asking yourself, do I genuinely still want to read this? Not should I, but want? If the answer is no, let it go. You can donate them, give them to a friend, or drop them at the library. That way, the book still gets to fulfill its purpose, just not through you. I gave away a lot of books I knew deep down I'd never open. After that, my shelves looked calmer, cleaner, and easier to use. And maybe more importantly, I stopped feeling that sting of guilt every time I walked past them. When you release the books that no longer fit your life, you're not just freeing up space. You're loosening that constant feeling of I'm behind or I haven't done enough. It becomes easier to actually see and enjoy the books that matter to you now. And once that shelf is lighter, you've just opened up room, practically and emotionally, to tackle other quiet clutter zones, like the infamous skincare graveyard in your bathroom. Not all clutter is obvious. Sometimes it lives quietly behind a cabinet door, and you only notice it when you start feeling strangely irritated every time you open it. Most of us have had that phase, buying skincare with so much excitement, a new serum, a miracle eye cream, a stack of different masks. At first, you use them regularly, full of hope. But slowly, some don't work for your skin, others get pushed to the back, and a few just fall off your radar. They don't just take up space on the shelf, they turn into a visual reminder of money wasted or habits I didn't keep up with. Set aside a little time to really look through your skincare. Pick up each bottle and ask, am I actually still using this? Does this still serve me right now? For most, the honest answer will be no. And that's your clue. You're not holding on to them to save money. You're holding on to them out of guilt, and guilt is heavy. I had a whole stash of skincare I bought with high hopes and then stopped using. When I finally threw away the expired, irritating, or just unused products, something shifted. My cabinet got simpler. It was easier to find what I actually use, and that subtle frustration I felt every time I opened the door, gone. Decluttering your skincare is also a chance to look at your shopping habits. You stop feeling the urge to grab every product that looks promising on social media. You start asking, will I really use this? Instead of, what if this is the magic one? Keeping only what truly works for you and letting the rest go makes your space lighter and your routines calmer. And just like with everything else in your home, once you free up that little area, you start noticing more and more of these quiet clutter zones, like the famous "I'll figure it out later" box or sentimental trinkets you don't even like, but still feel guilty getting rid of. Here comes one of the most powerful side characters in every cluttered home, the "I'll deal with this later" box. Procrastinating on decluttering is a mental game, and this box is often the mastermind. Most of us have a box, a drawer, or a random corner full of things we didn't know how to deal with, extra cables, old paperwork, random bits and pieces. At first, we keep them just in case. One day, we tell ourselves they'll be useful, but that one day rarely comes. Instead of helping you feel organized, the box turns into a constant low-grade stressor, a physical pile of unfinished decisions. The first step to breaking its power is to actually open it and sort it. Item by item, you can decide keep, give away, or toss. As those maybe later items disappear, you're not only clearing physical space, you're releasing mental pressure from all those decisions you've been postponing. I had a box full of old chargers, tangled cords, unclear, little gadgets, and random papers. After one honest sorting session, the drawer felt lighter, more functional, and so did my mind. I realized that a lot of the daily mental clutter I felt came from things like that box places where I'd parked decisions instead of making them. Tackling your "I'll figure it out later" box doesn't magically fix everything in your house, but it does something important. It proves to your brain that you can handle decisions you've been avoiding. A tidy space and a clearer head often go hand in hand, and once you feel that you start seeing other areas you're ready to face too. Like gifts you don't like, but still keep, or travel items that haven't seen a suitcase in years. Now it's time to touch a sensitive area: the gifts you keep. More out of obligation than genuine love. Most homes have at least one drawer or shelf of stuff. People gave me logo keychains, event badges, branded mugs, tiny figurines, random notebooks. They rarely show up in your real daily life. You don't use them, you don't really like them, but you still can't quite throw them away. The reasons sound familiar. You don't want to waste someone's kindness. You're afraid of being ungrateful. You dread that tiny sting of guilt at tossing something that was technically a gift, even though honestly, the giver probably doesn't remember it exists. Look closely, and you'll see a lot of these things aren't tied to real memories at all. They're tied to social moments. Here, take this. Oh, thank you. You didn't choose them. You just accepted them. Every time you clean your eyes, slide past them with the same thought. I'll just leave it. It was a gift. Slowly, your home fills with things that don't really belong to you, items that don't serve you, don't reflect you. One day, I laid all my token gifts out on the table and asked if I didn't know who gave this to me, would I keep it? For most of them, the answer was no. That's when it clicked. I wasn't keeping them out of love, I was keeping them to avoid guilt. So I made a new rule. I kept a very small number of things that truly warmed my heart. A handwritten card, a meaningful souvenir from a special trip. Everything else that was still usable, I passed on. What I felt afterward wasn't loss, it was a relief. My space looked clearer and my mind did too. I finally understood the memory lives in the experience, not in a random mug with a company logo I barely recognize. And once that polite gift corner was cleared, it became so much easier to notice another category with the same stuck energy, all those travel accessories that haven't actually traveled with you in a very long time. And finally, Let's look at a category that sounds exciting on paper, but often just ends up sitting still travel stuff. Old travel accessories don't travel with you anymore, but they still occupy space, quietly reminding you of trips you didn't take and plans you kept for later. Mini shampoo bottles from hotels, travel size kits you bought for a big trip, zip bags, tiny refillable bottles, compressed towels, foldable toothbrushes, neck pillows. They all sound incredibly useful, but if you're honest, many of them haven't been inside a suitcase for years. Instead, they live in drawers bins or bathroom cabinets, crammed between the things you actually use and sometimes whispering. Remember that trip you were going to take? I've been there. Every trip, I'd come home with a few more minis, another just-in-case travel kit. But those next time moments came and went, and somehow I always ended up using something else. One day, I decided to gather every travel-related item into one spot: the travel bottles, zip bags, compressed L's, airplane kits, neck pillows, all the hotel-sized bottles. Seeing them all together, it hit me. I didn't need nearly this much to enjoy a trip, so I got brutally honest. Anything I knew I'd actually use in the next 1 or 2 trips went into one dedicated travel box stored in a specific place. Everything else expired, redundant, leaky, or clearly not my style went in the trash. The brand new but not for me items were given away, and I set a few quiet rules for myself. No more bringing home hotel toiletries just because only packing what I truly know I'll use, and refusing to turn my home into a storage room for tiny plastic bottles. After that, my bathroom cabinet and travel drawer felt completely different. Instead of this chaotic pile of fun travel energy that never actually travels, I had one small, tidy box, open everything I need, closed. No guilt, no clutter, no nagging thoughts about trips I still haven't taken. Decluttering travel accessories is just one part of freeing up your home. Just like letting go of the figure it out later box or those token gifts you never liked. It's a small change, but it adds up. You really can feel the difference in your space, in your schedule, and in how light your life starts to feel. So, we've just gone through 12 small ways you can declutter and keep your home feeling more calm, lighter, simpler, and without asking you to overhaul your entire life overnight. If you want your mind to feel less heavy, your home to feel less chaotic, and your time to stop disappearing into endless little busy work, try starting with just one tiny thing from this list today. And if you want to go a step further, I have another video I'd really love you to watch next. It's all about cleaning and organizing with older adults in mind, simple adjustments that make a home safer, easier to move around in, and that reduce the risk of falls. It's the kind of quiet knowledge that can spare a whole family a lot of worry. You honestly don't want to skip it. If this video was helpful for you, please like, share, and subscribe. That's how I know you want more content that makes your home feel calmer, your mind feel lighter, and your everyday life a little easier to live.